So Frank Warren is out here talking more absolute rubbish about Alexander Usyk ducking the Tyson Fury fight. I mean, give it a rest, Frank. We all know it was your guy who priced himself out, not Usyk. Usyk accepted the fight in Saudi Arabia. That's a fact, Frank. Your man didn't accept it in Saudi Arabia. Rumor is he wanted 120 million off the Saudis or something. And then he removed the fight from Saudi Arabia, where it would have made by far the most amount of money, and said we have to have it in the UK, where it's going to make far less money. Both fighters are going to be paid less. And on top of that, he only wanted to give Usyk 30%. Those are the actions of a man who doesn't want to fight, Frank. And then when Usyk agreed to 70-30 on the proviso that Fury donate £1 million to year, Fury not only wouldn't agree to donate the £1 million, but he then moved the goalposts again and said, remove the rematch clause from the contract. Tried to make out as though Usyk had put it in the contract when it was Fury's team, either you, Bob Arum, or whoever else involved in the Fury team that had the rematch clause put in the contract in the first place. A load of messing around from Tyson Fury. And with regards to that 70-30 split, you publicly said, Frank Warren, that the fight with Usyk should be 50-50. That's a fact. You said that publicly. So did Bob Arum. So your fighter's gone back on his word, and now you're backing him for going back on his word. Give it a rest and do me a favor, to use your own phrase, Frank, right? You're talking a load of rubbish, and the world, the boxing world, has figured out what your fighter Tyson Fury did. He ducked the fight. He priced himself out. You've got former pros like Carl Froch and Johnny Nelson. They know how boxing works with regards to the business. If a fighter doesn't really fancy a fight, then he just puts all these obstacles in the way in negotiations and prices himself out. So as far as if Usyk really wanted the fight, it would have happened. No, if your man Fury really wanted the fight, it would have happened in Saudi Arabia already, because that's where he was made an offer to fight Alexander Usyk, far more than he would have got fighting Usyk at Wembley in the UK. But he rejected that deal, Frank. That's a fact. So stop talking all this rubbish, trying to con the fans. Yeah, let's be real. Now, Frank Warren has come out and said that Tyson Fury's next fight is going to be a game changer and that everyone's going to be surprised. Give it a rest. Again, do me a favor. The only fight that would be any kind of game changer or be amazing for the boxing world is if Tyson Fury actually gets in the ring with Alexander Usyk. That's it. That's all we're interested in, Frank. We're not interested in Tyson Fury fighting Ngannou or John Jones or any of this nonsense. Get him in the ring with Usyk. If it's not going to be that, the public are going to turn their noses up at it. Now, yeah, you could put Tyson in there in an interesting voluntary defense against Frank Sanchez or Filip Hrgovic or somebody else like that. Yeah, that would be acceptable as a voluntary defense, but it's still not what we want. What we want is the Usyk fight. And your man doesn't want it, Frank, at least not right now. So stop trying to con the fans with all this rubbish you're talking online. No one's buying it. And every time you come out talking this rubbish, you're just making yourself look like an absolute donut. That's what you're doing. Just look at the comments whenever you come out with this rubbish. We've all figured it out, Frank, in terms of what your man did. This is Frank Warren's nature, to be defiant and aggressive like this. So it's kind of automatic for him, really. It's pathological. He doesn't know how to operate any other way. But from a PR perspective, he's just hurting himself and hurting his fighter the more aggressive and belligerent he gets, because we all know that his fighter is lying. We all know that Tyson Fury is a pathological liar. So if you start defending a pathological liar, then you look like a fool. So yeah, this thing about, oh, it's going to be a game changer, load of rubbish. How could it possibly be a game changer unless it's the Usyk fight? What's it going to be, John Jones in a boxing match or Ngannou? Yeah, and if it is a decent opponent, then cool, that's a decent opponent. A Frank Sanchez, as I said, a Hrgovic, somebody like that, somebody in the upper echelons of the WBC top 10. Okay, that's an acceptable voluntary defense. In the meantime, but of course we want the Usyk fight sooner rather than later. And of course, Frank Warren's saying that it's not going to be Usyk fighting Tyson Fury for undisputed. It's going to be Daniel Dubois. And by the way, I heard somebody, I think it was Gareth A. Davis, quote George Warren or paraphrase George Warren. And George Warren was saying that Team Fury are not going to dance to the tune of the Saudis. You know, this is concerning to me. And we've already heard Frank Warren say that the Fury-Usyk fight is not going to happen in Saudi Arabia in December, that the Saudis are going to push it back. Well, we haven't heard that from the Saudis, Frank. The Saudis haven't come out publicly and said they're going to push it back. So if you've got some inside information on that and you've spoke to them directly, fair enough. But everything we're hearing from, let's say, Eddie Hearn's side of the table is that that he's going ahead with the Joshua Wilder fight in Saudi Arabia in December. Now, if the Saudis did push it back a little bit further, okay, I guess that's possible because they obviously want to see who comes through their next fights. But everybody else, Usyk, Deontay Wilder, AJ, they're all talking very positively about the Saudi situation. Except you and your fighter, Frank. You're the odd one out. You're not talking positively about this Saudi thing. You know why you're not talking? I can tell you why I think you're not talking positively about it. Because your man don't want it. Your man is hoping that Daniel Dubois beats Usyk or damages him, puts some miles on the clock, and then maybe Tyson will think, okay, now's the time to fight Usyk. That's what's going on. So you're playing for time, kicking the can down the road. And that's why you don't want to commit to the Saudi thing, and you're trying to change the narrative and make out as though, oh, we're not going to dance to the Saudis' tune. Tyson's the heavyweight champion of the world. You know, all this carry on. Well, we control our own destiny. What is that destiny, Frank? To be fighting hand-picked opponents for the rest of Tyson Fury's career? Because we're not interested in a destiny like that. We're interested in a destiny that puts him in the ring with Alexander Usyk ASAP. This is a fan-driven sport. We're the ones who actually pay to watch these fights, either by going to the fights or pay-per-view or whatever, subscriptions. So don't disrespect us with all this rubbish you're talking. Your man needs to man up, stop messing around and get in the ring. We know he's a brave man, but he's also a businessman. He's also got more than a little bit of Floyd Mayweather about him in terms of the way he handles his career, especially since he's become a cash cow fighter. Now he's much more careful about who he fights and when he fights them. And, you know, we're getting all this rubbish about Usyk don't want to fight. Well, absolute load of rubbish. That's called gaslighting. When you're literally telling people the opposite of what they know to be true. And you're making out as though because they don't believe your BS, they're crazy or they're stupid somehow. That's called gaslighting, Frank. Your man's an expert at gaslighting. Well, I say an expert, nobody believes it anymore. Very few people, apart from the most demented Fury fanboys. They're the only ones clinging onto it now. But he's certainly a very prolific gaslighter, Tyson Fury. So yeah, we're not having it. And this game-changing announcement is only going to bring more criticism upon you and your fighter, Mr. Warren. That's what's going to happen. Because it's not going to be a game changer, is it? Yeah, stop trying to distract people away from the Usyk fight as if the Usyk fight isn't the most important fight in the heavyweight division. It is. There's nothing that can distract us from that, Frank. Yeah, give it a rest. Anyway, I'm out.
Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.